Hello, I'm Mercedes Stevenson, and this is the West Block: politics, perspectives, and players.
My friends, it is so good to be back in BC.
I love being back home.
There's a reason why your motto is beautiful British Columbia. I love coming to British Columbia.
How honored I am to stand on unceded territory of the Songhees, of the Esquimalt, of the Coast Salish people of this territory on which we are honored to live. Haishkasiam.
British Columbia, with 42 seats in the House of Commons, this province has the most electoral districts west of Ontario. And it's here in the Lower Mainland and on Vancouver Island where the parties are pushing to win seats. And candidates are feeling the pressure.
I believe that for Mission Matsqui, the Conservative Party, if they want to form government, they have to win Mission Matsqui-Fraser Canyon. I think this riding is critical, and that's why I'm out day after day seeking to earn the trust of the voters and knocking on doors like crazy. Biggest thing that we're after, guys, is getting more lawn signs out. Mission Matsqui-Fraser Canyon is an absolutely massive riding, first off. It's 22,000 square kilometers approximately. It spans the interior of British Columbia all the way to down here near the Fraser River on the north and south side of Abbotsford and Mission here. We have a strong agricultural base. Many of the people in this riding are small business owners. And they're the type of people who work really, really hard to get ahead, who take initiative and fight for what they have.
Conservative Brad Viz is not the only candidate trying to take this seat, located just outside of Vancouver from the Liberals. Green Party candidate John Kidder says he wouldn't be in the race if he couldn't stand the pressure to win.
Of course there's pressure. The pressure that's mounting all across the country really is, I think, a pressure to figure out how we're going to get a rational government out of this. And it doesn't seem from the evidence that we're going to get a rational government from either of the two major parties if they have a majority. I actually think that this is the most important election in Canadian recent history, for sure. We know that we are facing an enormous worldwide crisis. I like the phrase in French where they talk about l'urgence climatique. It's an urgent matter for us to deal with what's going on with the climate. We're looking at all of this as if it's nothing but risk, it's nothing but cost. That's just wrong. That's just wrong-headed. It's a kind of a conservative approach. I don't mean to slag the Conservative Party. A conservative approach to risk is kind of hide in the hole and say, maybe when I lift the blanket off, it'll be 1955 again. It's never going to be 1955 again. So we need to embrace this opportunity for change and just get at it full bore with gusto and joy and hope. So that's what I'm looking for.
Environment and affordability are two big issues in BC.
We're trying to encourage people to include climate in their decision making.
And outside groups like Lead Now, a third-party left-wing activist group, is holding phone banks and backing candidates who've signed on to their climate mandate.
Our hope is that we send a cohort of champions and heroes that are willing to apply pressure from within the House of Commons to deliver the kind of climate action that people are asking for. If the story we walk away with on October 22nd is that climate was the defining issue of this election, that will be success. Because what we're actually trying to do is to create the most optimal conditions in the future House of Commons to start mobilizing for a Green New Deal.
This riding is ground zero for Kinder Morgan, for the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion, and there is a huge sense of betrayal by the Liberals. People are desperately concerned, for example, about the pipeline, the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion, the risk of an oil spill, the betrayal, frankly, of the Liberal promises on this. I mean, you know, Terry Beach, Liberal candidate, promised, hey, unless the community agrees, unless Indigenous people agree, this pipeline won't go ahead. Well, not only is it going ahead, but the Liberals bought it.
NDP candidate Sven Robinson is back into federal politics after a 15-year break, running in Burnaby, just north of Vancouver.
It's a huge issue in the constituency, and it's one that is, I think, driving many people to support my candidacy, frankly.
The NDP is hoping to flip this riding from the Liberals, but Liberal candidate Terry Beach is optimistic.
So I've always felt that, and I've always approached any issue, that it's my job to represent my constituents. So I'm sure that you know that I'm one of the two Liberals that voted against the project. People are really concerned about making sure we hit our climate targets and that we protect this planet for future generations. So if you go economy, environment, affordability, childcare, housing, You know, you're probably hitting 80% of what you're hearing on the doors most of the time, and then there's a lot of other issues kind of mixed in there. My strategy for elections is the same as my strategy for life, my strategy for work. Never take a day for granted, work as hard as you can, and we'll let the chips land where they may.
So while the Liberals and Conservatives try to pick up or retain seats in the Lower Mainland, over on Vancouver Island, of the 7 seats, the Greens hold 2 and are running hard against the NDP for the remaining 5. On election night, all eyes will be on British Columbia, as it may be here where the final votes are counted that we learn who will form the next government. That's all the time we have for today. For the West Block, I'm Mercedes Stevenson.